Oh, gosh.
But I've said it will be an absolute 7-goal thriller, and it's going to be 5-2. He is back, the man, the myth, the legend, my dad. He's back for episode 2. You guys like him, so why not? We'll have him every week. So, how are you feeling, mate?
I'm feeling very confident, especially after my first round guesses last week.
Yeah, I don't really want to tell them, so you can do the honours.
Well, I think I got 8 out of 10, and you got 4 out of 10.
So what we will be doing is we will be playing a little game throughout the whole entire season, throughout this whole entire series. Now, if you get a prediction right, that is 1 point. But if you get the prediction right and the actual score, it turns into 3 points. Now, my dad is currently winning, aka the guess. He is on 10 points and I am on 4. So obviously, this week is for me to, get back on some points. I've been doing a lot of digging at some stats to hopefully get the predictions right. So first up, we have Liverpool playing at Anfield against Burnley. Now this has got to be an absolute cracker. Burnley, Premier League regulars, mid-table mediocrity, and then you have a side like Liverpool who are trying to get a Premier League title against all these great teams, so it should be a great matchup, to be honest. Salah had an absolute masterclass last time against Norwich when obviously they won 3-0. Do you think he is able to just have another great game?
I mean, he's a consistent player. That's the thing about Salah. I don't think he's sensational like everyone rates him, but I might just be biased. But he is a very good player, very consistent.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I think that's what you want in a player. I prefer consistency rather than someone to have a stellar game.
Now, another player I have a sneaky feeling that might have a great season is Bobby Firmino. Now, obviously, I'm not the biggest fan because we are both Manchester United fans. But when I look at Bobby Firmino and I saw him against Norwich, I think potentially he could have a much better season than last season. But more onto Burnley, they did recently in their last game, the first game of the Premier League, lost to Brighton 2-1. So it shows they have a bit of a leaky defence. As you said last episode, Brighton, they have sort of an empty, team. They don't have enough going forward, and they conceded 2 goals at home.
Yeah, I think the Burnley defence will end up good. They've started badly, but they'll let Liverpool score loads of goals, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Tarkowski, Mings, they do have some decent defenders, but whether they'd be able to keep a clean sheet against a team like Liverpool, who had a great start and probably are on the very, very high, I don't know about that.
And so Tyrone Mings has moved to Burnley now.
Mings!
You said Mings and Tarkowski. You said... It's Burnley and Mings plays for the... You wanted to say me and Tarkowski. You said Mings. Look, we don't care about Liverpool, really. Let's just get on to the next game. Yeah, they'll win Liverpool. Give them 20-0. Burnley are crap.
Okay. I'm saying a 5-0 win for Liverpool. What do you think?
I'm gonna go 3-0. I think Burnley have had a bit of practice, so 3-0.
Now it is Aston Villa versus Newcastle. So Aston Villa are obviously playing at home, and one of their newest signings obviously scored a penalty in their last game, and that was Danny Ings. Do you think he can maybe have a great game against a team like Newcastle and maybe keep up the consistency?
I think he's another consistent player, and I think they're important to get onto the score sheet last week. So I think he can score. I think Newcastle, as much as they played pretty well against West Ham last week, they just let too many goals in. I think Villa are good for this one at home, their first win of the season.
To be honest, in my opinion, I think both teams have actually had good starts. Although Newcastle's lost the game, you've got to think they are sort of a lower mid-table side. And I think going forward, they looked really, really fresh. You know, Callum Wilson having a great game, Saint Maximum having a great game. And they've got a couple new arrivals. So I think there's definitely potential for Newcastle to get in a better position than last season.
So I think Aston Villa will win this one. I think it'll be a 3-1 win.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see that, and I've went with a 2-1 win. Now on to the third game, and it is Crystal Palace playing at home against Brentford. Now, my oh my, talk about the worst debut in the world. Vieira losing his first game, an absolute 4-0 whopping against Chelsea, and to be honest, I think even this early in the season, I've completely lost my backing of Vieira.
But I've always thought that it's going to take a while, and he's actually said in the press it's going to take a while.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched the game and I didn't hear Ezzy's name mentioned, so I don't know whether he actually played the game or, I mean, I haven't gone back and had a look, but if he's injured, I think Crystal Palace are a much weaker team without Eze.
I think Michael Olise is out as well, so the creativity could be a bit lacking against Brentford. But Brentford, on the other hand, having a completely different game week 1. Obviously, they made an absolute shocker of a win against Arsenal. My dad called it. My dad did call a win. I said it would be a draw. So fair play for calling that win. One of their star players was a player that I actually disrespected a lot on a video about Brentford, and it was Canos. I said Brentford could have survived, but just because of one player they wouldn't, and I said Canos. I said they needed to replace Canos, but it's looking like he is going to be their main man, you know, going forward, you know, pinging balls on the left-hand side. And to be honest, I definitely think he will have a good game against Crystal Palace, maybe getting a goal or maybe even 2.
All jokes aside, winning against Arsenal is a big thing. I mean, Arsenal are not expected to rip it up this season, but they still are a good team.
Yeah. What's your prediction?
I have a feeling Brentford's going to be a home team, not an away team.
Do you?
Yeah, but I do think Crystal Palace will draw this game. I think it'll be 2-2 draw.
So you've obviously said 2-2, and I can definitely see that. You know, although Crystal Palace have had a really, really bad start, you can't forget they have some great players. You know, Eze and Olise might be injured, but then again, Zaha, Guita, Guehi, Gallagher, there's some quality players who are probably proven in the Premier League, definitely Zaha. And although I think that I just think Canos, players like Pinnock, players like Raya, they're just going to have a great game for Brentford, and it's going to be a 2-0 win for them away. Now it is Manchester City at home to play Norwich, and I think we all see what's coming. You know, Manchester City, they're a side that reached the Champions League final as late as June, so they've still got that quality. But although I think it will, I mean, we all know City will probably win, most likely 99%. I think Norwich are actually going to have a better game than most people think. I mean, Norwich got ripped apart by a Liverpool side, and it shows that they could potentially get that with Manchester City. But I think Manchester City, they started off the season losing to Spurs 1-0 without their best player, obviously Kane. And they've got players like Grealish, Bernardo Silva, Riyad Mahrez, Sterling. They're all world class, but I just have a feeling they're not going to play as good this season.
Well, City are coming up to nearly 3 months without scoring a goal in competitive football.
That's a bit embarrassing.
It is a bit embarrassing, and they've lost 2 finals. So,
yeah.
But they're playing Norwich. Norwich didn't play well against Liverpool. I don't see Norwich getting anything out of this game.
Prediction?
I'd like to give Man City more goals than I am, but I think it's going to be 2-0.
I personally think it will be 1-0. So, I mean, we're not saying a thumping, are we? But we're saying just a safe Manchester City win. Easy in the bag for them.
But having said that, Man City can come out for a big 5 or 6-0 against lesser teams.
You never know. You never know. Now it is Brighton playing at home against Watford. Now I genuinely think this type of game could go both sides. You know, it is a gamble. Now, one of the players who hasn't really had the best start to life in his first couple of seasons with Brighton actually shined in the 2-1 win against Burnley, and that is the French striker Neil Maupay. Now, you know, you see a couple players like Ben Rama who is sort of fitting in now Do you think, now that Morpé's had a great game, that potentially it could bounce back and his confidence could just go straight up the roof and he could have a good season or a good game?
Well, he pulls out important goals for Brighton.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that one against Arsenal that won the game last season. But, I mean, Brighton against Watford, I think Watford had a good game last week at home. But I think, again, another team that might struggle more away. And Brighton did pretty well against a Burnley defence, which is known to be tough. So I think it'll be Brighton 3-1.
But Watford did actually win against Aston Villa 3-2. So it shows that they can definitely get a result out of a highly respected team. And I think Brighton are one of them. You know, the team is looking strong, both of theirs, Brighton and Watford. And one of Watford's strikers, Dennis, who was actually from Club Brugge, very, very unknown, got 1 goal and 1 assist. I definitely think he can get a couple goals this game. And that's why I'm going to say a shocker, Watford 2, Brighton 1. Watford to stay up in the Premier League season. Now on to Leeds playing at home against Everton. And these are two teams I'd sort of put in the same category, am I right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they both have great firepower going up top. You know, for Everton, it's Calvert, Lewin, Richarlison. For Leeds, it's Raphina, Harrison, Bamford. So we both know both teams have class. And this is another game where I think it could definitely go both sides. Now, obviously, Leeds did just lose by an absolute mile, 5-1 to Manchester United. Obviously, we were enjoying that. We were jumping up and down, having a party about that. But do you think that Leeds can recover, seeing as we beat them, 6-2 last season, and they've recovered perfectly, got top 10?
Yeah, I think the first game at home in front of a big crowd for Leeds, which is a big club, Leeds.
Mm-hmm.
I think if it was just last season without any crowds, I would probably go for the draw here. But I do actually think Leeds in front of their home crowd, Bielsa won't be very happy with the performance. It wasn't. He's called their performance shocking. But I think it's going to be 3-2.
3-2. So 3-2 for Leeds. That is what my dad is saying. And for me personally, I think Richarlison is going to have a good game. You know, he had a massive boost of confidence. Obviously, he won the Olympic gold medal with Brazil, because obviously they won the football Olympics. And he had a good game last time, so I definitely think he might get a goal or two. But I am definitely going to say a 3-2 win to Everton. I think just going forward, I think Everton just won their game. They might be good confidence, and I don't know if Leeds are going to be able to, go up against a team like this. Now we have Southampton playing at home against our team, Manchester United. Now, I think for both of us, heads are high for this game. Manchester United just came off a 5-1 win against the team we last talked about, Leeds. Varane could potentially having his debut. In fact, I do think he will have his debut. Do you?
I think he will. Bit concerned he didn't play in the practice game yesterday, but
yeah, definitely.
That might mean he's not starting, but I do think he will have some part to play anyway. Now,
there are two midfielders for Manchester United I think will absolutely have a wonder game, and that was the same for them in game week 1, and it's Pogba and Bruno. They are now officially a duo. When I think of them, I think they have great chemistry, and I just think both of them playing with the ball, it is just fantastic to see. Pogba brings the creativity, he brings the passing, Bruno brings the finishing, and he brings the crossing. I just think it's a great duo to have on your team, and I definitely think they will have a great game. Now, one of the strikers I wanted to talk to you about was Armstrong. Obviously, he's from the Championship, so it might be hard to get the step up, but he managed to get the only goal for Southampton in a woeful 3-1 loss for them in game week 1. Do you think he will be able to get a goal against a defence like Manchester United's?
Well, Man United's yet to prove their defensive stability yet.
Maybe.
We did have a lot of those games, including Southampton last year away, where we had to come back.
Yeah.
Thing for Southampton for me is the fact that I have lost Danny Ings. So Armstrong's a fair replacement. I'm concerned because it's Southampton's first game in front of their home crowd.
Yeah.
That would be my only concern for United. I think we have the skill, the players to beat them on the day. The only thing that would go against us is if the fans really push Southampton ahead, because they are a really good disciplined team. But I still think we'll win. It might be 3-2.
I could definitely see that, and I've got a similar sort of prediction with you, because last time, I mean, we could do anything against this team. I mean, last time we played them, we beat them freaking 9-0. Do you know what I mean? We could do anything. But I'm saying a similar result, and I'm saying a 3-1 win. Now on to Spurs versus Wolves, and Wolves are playing at home to this game, and they have fans back, so it might be a bit of an edge for them. But one thing I just want to say, Nuno is returning to the Molineux Stadium, and I think already, this is an early prediction from me, and you can put your opinions in, because I understand this is a very, very out there opinion, but I think after watching that Man City game, Nuno will be better than Pochettino ever was.
Well, I think defensively, I said that in the last preview, that I think Tottenham will be a better defensive unit, because they really was quite stable against an attacking Man City team, and Man City gave up in the end, I think, and Tottenham just had it over them.
Yeah, I mean, after 50 minutes they disappeared, really.
I have a feeling though Wolves seem to be a good team. I don't know much about their manager, but he's again another Portuguese manager who is quite good and skillful and seems to have a good tactical setup.
Now there's two things that differentiate my opinion with Bruno Lage, obviously the Wolves manager. Number one, he was with Swansea when they got relegated. He was actually the assistant manager, but then he won the Liga NOS with Benfica, so I'm like, do you have crap tactics or are you genuinely a good manager? I can't tell, but they did lose their first game 1-0, so that shows a bit of bad signs. But you know what? It takes managers to settle in.
It is a difficult one. Will Nuno come back to Wolves to try and win the game, or will the Wolves players try to beat their old manager? It's really difficult, so I'm going to sit on the fence, and which I don't normally do. I think this will be a 1-1 draw.
1-1 draw?
I don't think there's a lot of goals in Tottenham.
You don't, really?
No, I think they've got good attacking set up, but the goals are not there, unless Kane's playing.
I think Kane will play. I think it would just be a one-off, because, you know, Kane loves the Tottenham fans. Let's be real. He apologised to them already. So I don't think he will want to have them witness him literally missing the first 2 games. But for me, I'm saying he will play, and it will be an absolute 4-0 thumping. So now it is West Ham playing at home against a very similar team to them in calibre, and that is Leicester. Now, West Ham have looked really, really good, you know, although they have a really, really thin squad. I mean, their only striker is Michail Antonio, and they don't have a consistent attacking midfielder. They don't have a centre-back, and it shows how thin their squad is, but they won 4-2 against Newcastle, and Newcastle played really, really well. So it shows how they can really, really scrap to get the result when they need it. And one of their star players, Antonio, do you see Antonio having a great game today?
I think he's just becoming a consistent player. It's unfortunate that he gets injured all the time.
Yeah.
So I would expect him to go close to scoring every game at least. And I mean, the player that you mentioned last week about Benrahma was a big part of their comeback last week, and actually got an assist.
I mean, I said on the last episode, I genuinely think he is now ready for the Premier League. You know, it takes players to settle in. Now, Leicester actually scrapped a win 1-0 against Wolves. So, you know, decent little win. And I definitely think it's a huge game for Leicester. You know, personally, I don't think Leicester are going to do as good as they did in the last 2 seasons, even though I still think they'll get Europa League football.
Yeah, Leicester, I don't think they have a lot of goals in them at the moment.
Yeah, me neither.
West Ham can score from any part of the field, which is a worry, but they're good defensively, Leicester. It's a hard one to predict, but I'm actually going to go with a West Ham win in front of their home crowd. I don't stand for 2-1.
2-1, okay, 2-1. And I'm actually saying a West Ham win as well. I'm saying a 3-2 win for West Ham, and that will mean 6 points out of 2 games. That's all you need, mate. Now on to our last game of the video. Thank you guys all for watching, and we saved best for last. Arsenal versus Chelsea, and you know what? I think this is actually going to be a very, very good game. I think Both teams bring something to the table, minus Arsenal, of course. They really don't bring anything to the table. But Chelsea, they're on an all-time high. Winning the Champions League, winning the Super Cup, and winning on your first game 4-0. I think confidence is going to be really, really high for all the players, especially after they heard that Arsenal lost to basically a championship standard team. But there's some good news for them. Odegaard will sign for them. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, he did quite well in the bits he had to pay last year.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's the star they need.
Yeah, I mean, look, when you look at a team like Arsenal, putting Odegaard in it, is it really going to improve their position? I don't think so. Yes, he'll bring some goals to the table. Yes, he'll bring the numbers, but a player like him won't be able to, affect the team as much as, let's say, a Bruno Fernandes would. But also speaking about signings, Lukaku, he will be starting. What do you think about that? I potentially think he might be able to get a goal or two.
Yeah, I think he has the opportunity if he has the ball in front of him. But if he's to play with the ball at feet, I think he'll have his same problems he had in the Premier League. I can't see, without Aubameyang and Lacazette, I can't see Arsenal outscoring Chelsea in this. 1-3.
But I've said it will be an absolute 7-goal thriller, and it's going to be 5-2 to Arsenal. No, but I'm joking. I am joking. It will be a 5-2 Chelsea win.